It's time for the show that brings the magic right to your speakers. Ears up!
Hey, what's up, everybody? Man, I tell you what, if you were listening live for the last 20 minutes, you got a lesson in creative swearing. Because nothing was working. Again, as usual, I don't know what it is about this show or my computer or my luck or whatever. See, now I'm trying to turn on one of my little key lights here. It doesn't work. It doesn't turn on. It's like the on button is jammed or something, and like it won't go down. Dude, I'm like so... It's one of those days when you don't want to wake up.
She said.
Yeah, everything sucks. Something like that, man. I don't know. Yeah, it's been a weird day, but you know what? Who cares? We're here. We're here talking about Disneyland, or at least Disney World. No, Disney. I mean DCA. See, I don't know.
DCA. Yep.
One of those.
There you go.
Let me tell you about my day so far, which is super interesting. But you know, I don't care. It's my show. Do what I want. Taryn is at a work event, so like part of her job, which isn't really part of her job, she just likes doing it, but she does these like videos. So at her work, they pick like, they call it the best of the best, where it's like whoever these communities gets awards, and the staff like does a little video and they play it at this big awards dinner, and it's like, you know, this person deserves this award because they're just so caring. It's basically like a bunch of people just telling everybody they already know how caring a person is over and over again. It's like it's the same thing, which is fine, whatever. And then got some of the residents and stuff, and it's fine. But she puts it together, and she stresses out so hard about it because it's such an endeavor to wrangle several people from 11 different communities who are just trying to like care for seniors. They don't know about camera angles or audio quality, or you know what I mean, or whatever. And anyway, so she stresses out about it, and so she's at the event tonight. So she leaves me alone. I'm like, it's a show night. Shoot. Okay. Well, it's fine. Come on. I've been doing this for 15 years. It's fine. I'll be fine. I got to put Alice to bed. So I'm like advancing everything by like half an hour. I'm like, hey, do you just want to eat dinner early, Alice? She's like, yeah. I'm like, it's great. Perfect. Yeah. And then I go stupidly. I go, oh, you stink, man. You want to take a bath? And she goes, yeah. I'm like, no, wait, shoot. Okay. Yeah. So I just had to like, it was a lot of like convincing Alice to be like, this is your idea to do this, right? To go to bed early, maybe a little bit, or to whatever. And yeah, so I have her monitor down here, but she's asleep. I just checked on her. She's fine. But yeah, and we had a bunch of audio issues here. It's just a lot, man. This is a lot, but it's okay. And of course, if you're going to the parks, don't forget to check out our friends over at Concy Ears. Go to concyears.com today. Book your trip. Well, actually have them book it for you, because that's what they do. You can sit online and try to do the clicks and try to, you know, get out your credit card. Did you remember your CCV number or whatever it is? Oh, it's expired now. You got to get a whole new one. This whole mess of stuff that really nobody likes to do in the digital age. But Concierge loves it. They love the mundane garbage that you have to jump through to book a trip these days. So check them out, concierge.com. All the stuff they provide to you is free. No extra charge to you. You pay what you would just pay if you were sitting on disneyland.go.co.gov.enjoy.magic.com or whatever it is. Check them out. We're here. I have an adult beverage, and you know, we're going to talk about, what are we talking about? We have Ryan. So anyway, Taryn's not here. We're joined with Ryan. Ryan from Puny Pod, of course. Welcome back to the show, Ryan. It's been 2 shows since you've been on, or something like that.
Something like that.
Something. And Ryan is a big Marvel head, you know, big Marvel Universe guy. And he emailed me a couple months ago, and he's like, listen, bro, this is my Ryan impression. Listen, man, you know, I'm so sick of people slagging off Adventure Campus. It's the best thing ever. And I want to do a show about it. And I want to do a show about it right now. And I said, well, look, hold on a second.
Perfect.
Why don't we calm down? First of all, how did you get my address? But yeah, so Ryan's going to do, what is it, in the defense of Avengers Campus, right?
Yeah, in defense of Avengers Campus.
Okay. Because people have been haters. Yeah, people have been attacking your baby.
Yeah, gotta get the haters out of here.
And I told and I told you that I would try to find some you know, some counterpoints for you, which I haven't done yet, but I still will. I'll still look. But, you know, besides my own, because I've never been, so I don't really have any sort of justification other than what I've read like online about this topic. So I'm interested to see what you have to say about it. Are people really hating on it still as much as they were? I don't know.
And I think that's the interesting thing is when I came up with this idea, it was a little bit more like, I think there's more opposition to it. I think it's like cooled as time has gone on.
It was like 2 months ago, dog.
I know.
Okay.
It's
It's
the way the
big.
world
Things are
works,
cool.
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, man, I'm interested. I'm here for it. I'm sure we'll be able to find people online who still don't like it. I mean, I still don't really like it. I don't really know anything about it.
There you go.
I don't like it. But Eric, you
Great
are here,
opinion.
my friend. Thank you. You're here and you have a window to talk about, right?
Ooh, a window.
Don't you?
Yes.
A window into your soul, baby. Bare your soul for us here on whatever show this is.
Well, my soul is clearly delineated directly behind the window of Dr. Alexander Irvin, MD. Yes, there he is on Main Street, USA. Dr. Alexander Irvine, graduated Harvard Medical School in 1964. And if you want to find his window, go to the Baby Care Center. So head all the way down Main Street and take a right at the end. And you can find the Baby Care Center. And there he is on the window above that center. Alexander is the father of Richard Dick Irvine, president of WED.
I was
at
wondering
one point.
where a doctor comes into the windows on Main Street.
Right. Well, Alexander was for a while Walt's personal eye doctor. He was a fairly famous eye doctor. He was the founder of the Doheny Eye Institute. Now,
Doheny?
everybody's wondering, what is the Doheny Eye Institute? Well, Carrie Estelle Doheny lost her sight, and she was also a wealthy person. So working with her personal ophthalmologist, who is probably very excited to be working with a wealthy woman, she established herself an eye institute in her name in 1947. And Alexander was one of the founding physicians in this practice.
That was back when you could do weird stuff like that. Like, I'm just good, I have enough money. She probably had like $100,000 in the bank, which by then, then was enough money to do that. I'm going to establish an institute. I don't really feel like you get too many of those anymore,
No, not enough people are willing to donate these days the millions and millions of dollars it would take to do such a thing.
I think we do need the Petros Institute of Audio
Engineering.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The Petros
Santa
Institute
Cruz.
for podcasters who can't audio too good. What is this, a school for podcasters?
That's exactly what it is, yes. But yeah, Alexander Irvine, MD, also had a son, Alexander Ray Irvine Jr. He had another son, Rodman Irvine, and a grandson, John A. Irvine, who were all noted eye doctors who worked at the Institute.
So you had John.
Yeah.
You had Alexander.
Uh-huh.
And then in the middle, things got really weird with Rodman.
Rodman.
Like, was that a popular name in the 40s? Rodman as a first name?
Obviously, yes.
Oh, man.
Yes, Rodman.
Clearly named after Dennis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Aren't there rods in your eye? It's like a
posthumously.
cornea and rod and stuff like that. Aren't those parts of your
There are
eyes?
rods in your eye.
There you
See,
go.
there you go. That's
it.
I bet you money he was named after that.
He's the Rod Man.
Mm-hmm. He's like,
He's
my
gonna
kid
take
is
care
going to
of
be
your
good.
rods."
Yeah, good at rod care for your eyeballs. Okay. Anyway.
Well, let's see. Their grandson, John A. Irvine, is still affiliated with USC, their university hospital, and the Doheny Institute. To get more information on Dr. Alexander Irvine, I'd have to be either a better internet historian or an actual historian who goes to a library to find out more about this person. But Dr. Irvine was definitely Walt's eye doctor and a close friend. So, of course, Walt gave him a window above the baby place.
So he was a Nepo doctor.
Yep. And that's Dr. Alexander Irvine, MD.
That's
I picked
really
a short one because Ryan's on.
Yeah. That's really interesting because what other, I wonder if some other of Walt's personal doctors, like, dude, hook a
The guy
doctor
who
up.
took out one of his lungs.
Yeah.
Did he get a window?
Should have.
I wonder how many windows are non-employees, because I would imagine he
that's
wasn't
good.
employed by the
By
company.
the park, yeah.
No, never. Yeah.
What? I mean, I guess
the
the
Make-A-Wish
one.
ones, right?
Sure, yeah, but that's,
I mean, there's one that I was working on. I thought it would be quick and easy, but I went down a deep dark hole of internet looking.
Nice. That's what we
where I
want
thought-
from you. Yes.
Right. Looking at the Upjohn Pharmacy window, because I'm a pharmacist by trade,
Yeah.
and there's a lot behind the two guys that are on that window. So like, okay, no, abandon ship. Let's move on. I kept finding these windows where they're like, oh, there's like 5 guys on this window. What's going on?
Wow.
So
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, there's a
share.
lot more window goodness to share going forward.
Nice. I've been doing a fair amount of research too. I'm researching. Well, I'm not going to say, but it's for a Pyramid Eye of the Ears show, and you're trying to look up reference material from out of print magazines, and I get caught in this rabbit hole of like an hour and a half of Google searching and copying and pasting doing this thing. Yeah, and it's like it's probably never going to be on. Yeah, because it's all some pulp weird ass magazine that nobody's ever heard of, and it was around for a bunch of years. But there's people who have scans of a couple of them that they find on eBay or whatever. But there's no like archive, and maybe I'm just Gen X enough to think that, growing up, seeing the internet basically absorb all print material and store it online for us to have access to, I go, well, it has to be online. I'm a little offended that it's not. It's like, how could I be incorrect about this? It's a material that's written down. It should be scanned online. I don't understand.
Yeah, some nerd scanned it and put it on some platform somewhere.
I guess, yeah. I just don't have the long tail SEO keywords to like dig it out of the internet. But I don't know, man. It's been really it's been interesting. Like trying to get those deep dive topics. You can't really. It's hard to fight your way out of just wasting all of the time devoted to whatever you have time you have carved out of your day to dig on this subject. It can't all just be looking for this one thing. Like at some point you got to cut bait and be like, okay, I got to actually write something now.
Not to mention the extra like rabbit hole time that when you do find that magazine and you end up reading all the rest of the articles that are in there too.
Yes. Right. Well, especially this one. Well, I'll it's a thing. I don't want to spoil anything. But let's move on to Avengers Campus and DCA, cool. Ryan.
Yeah.
What's going on with you, man? You okay with it? You good? Guys,
yeah.
You guys still talking?
Yeah. I want to kind of set some stage a little bit, I guess, and just talk briefly about the real world history of Avengers Campus, and then also the fictional history, because I think that's really cool. So D23 2017, it was announced that Avengers Campus was coming around the world. So we were going to end up getting 3 Avengers campuses, one in California,
Campuses.
So one in California, one in Paris, and then the very first one would be in Hong Kong. So in Anaheim, this meant that we were replacing a Bugs Land. So Bugs Land was replaced by this superhero land. About a year and a half of construction later, it was announced on March 11th, 2020, that Avengers Campus would be opening on July 18th, 2020.
A day that will live in infamy.
And then 3 days later, the world was entirely different. So after several backups, Avengers Campus did eventually open up on June 4th, 2021. So nearly a year later, nearly a year later. It's been open since. Not a whole lot's been added to it since it opened as of right now. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But to get into the fictional history, I think this is really important to the defense of Avengers Campus. Joe Rohde was giving a interview talking about actually when they were overlaying Tower of Terror to be Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
And he explained that the Marvel stuff in the theme parks operates in its own universe. It's distinctly meant to be its own universe. It will grow and expand. There'll be elements that link into other universes. But it's not supposed to be like the characters you see there are not the versions of the characters that you see in the movies. Which was really, I think, and this is where the defense starts, one of the smarter things that they did, versus like a Galaxy's Edge where it takes place in a 5-year time period. So you're really socketed into a specific like snapshot of that universe. Marvel, when they decided to build Avengers Campus, it was a branch reality that branched off before the events of Infinity War and Endgame. So the blip never happened.
Okay, so that's where we're going maybe time-wise, but it's also not timey at all.
Right. It's kind of there haven't been a whole lot of stories told about what's happened in this universe, right? And who knows, maybe someday they will write comics or whatever about the theme park universe, but
let's hope so.
Those always go over so well.
Theoretically, yeah, you're existing in a world where Infinity War never happened, Endgame never happened, Thanos never really attacked. So that's where the Avengers Campus exists, which does allow them to bring in a lot of different characters, and it is really cool in that way.
It sort of seems like that is the easy way out of saying, hey, maybe we screwed up by this with this Thanos thing, and or at least putting Avengers Campus here after this whole Thanos deal. So now we have to sort of backtrack and be like, oh, let's pretend it never. What if it never happened, guys? Let's just do that instead. So then we can have our cake and eat it at the same time.
Yeah, and I will say the idea of it being in its own universe does predate Thanos, right? Or does predate that in the
for the movies, right?
Yeah.
But in the comics, it has already happened. Like,
it was like the 80s.
That's the thing that I get confused about is there's so much, like with these comics, there's so many timelines and there's so much going on. How do you keep it straight from what happened in the comics, or at least what was pulled from the comics, what's referenced from the comics, and what just was made up for the movies? I'm imagining this Thanos thing happened, like Eric is saying, the 80s or 90s.
Yeah, we talk about that a little bit in the show in my show Puny Pod, but the movies exist in a different reality than the comics, so they're pulling references from the comics, but like the events of the comics do not influence the movies. The events of the movies don't influence the events of the comics.
But except for the characters that come from the comics. So they sort of do, right?
They do, but when Steve Rogers dies in the comics, that doesn't influence the way that the movies did it. And honestly, the movies have changed events so much that it is considered a separate reality. And there have been a few more modern comics that have referenced that, right? So like reality hopping people have hopped over into the movie reality as a separate reality from the events of the comics. So,
and it sounds really weird, but it's something comic books have been doing for decades.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That same exact thing, jumping over even from comic book to comic book, world to world, and they go, oh, what is that? And you take that character out of their reality and put them somewhere else with, Thor or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, it's something that's been going on forever, but it's weird for me to think about a comic book reality and then a movie reality. It's just because I think it's something like once that happens, it sort of sounds cheap.
It definitely, the more you do it can cheapen it, right? Because it's like, oh, that's a very easy writing device, right? That's a very easy narrative device to go, we screwed up. Let's just get over it. Let's do it some other way.
I guess it kind of makes sense with the movies, though, because you don't want to do it exactly like the comics, because the mega fans want to see their stories, but they don't want to see them the exact same way. And other people say, let's do, if we did the same story the way that we did it 30 years ago, why would we be interested? So,
I don't know, but then they come out with The Little Mermaid remake, and then they come out with Mulan remake, and they come out with Beauty and the Beast. So people, the counter to that is they're doing it. They've been doing it.
And Marvel has kind of explored what it looks like to stay close to the source material, as well as what it looks like to deviate wildly from it. Iron Man 3, the episode we just got done doing, literally that movie basically only took names from the comics and then changed the story entirely. The events were entirely changed. The names were pulled, and the general gist of a few things were kind of applied over, but the events were entirely different.
So you're saying Guy Pearce doesn't actually exist?
That's right. He's AI.
Yeah.
Few.
Yeah. So in the theme park reality, the storyline of Avengers Campus is basically we're trying to bring in new recruits to the Avengers Initiative. Now, I will say this is a part of the storyline that I think could be carried out better. You don't get the feeling that you're being recruited for the Avengers when you're at Avengers Campus. And I think that is something they could carry over better. Hong Kong started by, they actually rethemed Tomorrowland, and they're in the process of continuing this retheming of Tomorrowland to be Stark Expo. So like Tony Stark and his like World of Tomorrow Expo kind of thing.
I don't hate it, except for the fact that it's a retheme of Tomorrowland. Like if it was they should take an event. I don't know if they have Inventions over there, but like over here, they should take Inventions and make it a Stark Expo.
And they did
cool.
that for a while. They did that for about a year and a half, I think.
When did they do this? I don't remember this.
It was before it was Star Wars Launch Bay.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. And was it like 2017 or something?
Like, I remember they had the Iron Man suits, and that was kind of it, though. It wasn't really like, there wasn't really a whole lot. Yeah.
It could have been more.
That's what I mean. That would be neat. So you take the House of the Future concept and wrap it in Stark Technologies, but I don't,
and like,
can't do that,
like Hong Kong got, I think they switched Buzz Astro Blasters. They switched it over to be an Ant-Man and the Wasp shooter. So you're fighting, I think Hydra is the story on that one.
Okay.
I just saw they tore out their Autopia and they're putting in Avengers stuff where their Autopia was.
Bold.
Yeah.
That would never fly in California.
No. That ride eats too many people still. There's no way.
Yeah. So that's Hong Kong. And then California and Paris got their next two. And the story on both those is the same. Tony Stark is retrofitting two of his father's campuses. So two of Howard Stark's campuses to be sites for the Avengers Campus. You can see this in the land. It's actually really cool when you're at California Adventure. You're walking around and you see old Stark Industries like paint on the wall. You see old signage for Stark Industries that's been like covered up by Avengers stuff. There's actually a really fun wall where it's the old parking lot and you see like reserved for H Stark, reserved for E Jarvis, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And actually on that same wall, there's also they have a like a wastewater drain that comes out that's labeled as like danger gamma radiation. And they planted trees around that wastewater that are kind of bulbous and like kind of
green.
And they're green. And so it looks like they've been like they're hulking out, which is a really fun little touch.
That's funny. I approve of that.
Yeah. So what's actually in Avengers Campus, right? So that's the theme. Is the idea is Tony Stark's taking his dad's old Stark Industries manufacturing areas, retrofitting it to be what we see today as kind of a campus for the current Avengers. So I'm going to focus all of the rest of this on California. The other parks have some really cool stuff, but that would have been a big rabbit hole. So we'll stay focused here in California. So there are two rides in Avengers Campus as of right now. There is Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, which we annexed from Hollywood Boulevard after Avengers Campus was created. And then there's Web Slingers. So Web Slingers is if you're not familiar with it, screen-based ride that is gesture sensitive. So instead of your Astro Blasters or your Midway Mania where you have like a gun that you're shooting, you actually fling webs. The idea is you're sitting in a pod and you're flinging spider webs.
You
actually
yes.
Yeah. You're in line, a spider bites you, you get on the ride, and then they cure you when you get off.
And it's actually, I will say Web Slingers is it's a really good arm workout.
Is it really? I don't know. You're just moving things.
Yeah. It like as much as Midway Mania gets that burn going, I think Web Slingers does too. But with both of these rides, both Web Slingers and Guardians of the Galaxy, the queues are like Easter egg overload. Everything is some sort of Easter egg for you. Guardians of the Galaxy is a little bit easier because it's set up to be kind of a museum. Yeah, so it's got labels and everything on it. Web Slingers is a little bit less of that. So you'll walk past a bike rack and you'll see bikes that are themed towards various heroes. Some of them are lesser known heroes. So like you have Moon Girl's roller skates are in there. And you wouldn't recognize that if you didn't know who Moon Girl was. you walk past a bank of lockers and they all have different logos painted on them. And not all of those logos have appeared in the movies to this point. So for the big heads, right, you're like, oh, cool, that's this character, that character that half the people around me in line probably don't recognize. So it is really cool from a big Marvel nerd fan or Marvel nerd standpoint to walk through those lines and see these things. Little bit of awkwardness because they're like half committed to Tony Stark's death when it comes to Avengers Campus, because he didn't die in this universe, right? He's still alive. He appears, like Iron Man still appears, but everything that's Iron Man themed, like in the shops and in the web line, is all Harley Keener, who's the kid he meets in Iron Man 3. Which is kind of a strange little, why isn't it just Tony? Just slap
I
Tony's
see.
name
Right. Because you can't live in that universe and have the death thing happen, right?
Yeah.
The plot hole in the plot hole.
Oh, no.
Dang.
And so outside of that, there's also some food in Avengers Campus. Pym's Test Kitchen and Tasting Lab. Pym's Test Kitchen is
I like Hymns Test Kitchen. I think that's funnier.
Yeah, Hymns.
Yeah.
Hymns, HYMS.
Yeah, it's
testing out
or are
hymns.
It's just gospel.
I was going to say, are we getting new sponsors for the network?
It's just gospel brunch. Everyone's singing hymns to you in line.
Different kind of hymns.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, not for hymns, but hymns.
Right.
So Pym's Test Kitchen, it's really fun. Everything there is not the size you expect it. You have $100 panini that's going to feed a whole family. You have,
and it does.
Yeah,
we did that once.
You did
with Jimmy's whole family and me and Dan and various other people that were hanging on to Jimmy's family. It fed a lot of people.
Wow. Okay, well that's good. I get. Was it a good value, and did it taste good?
It was a good panini. I'm not a ham guy, but
who's not a ham? It's like saying you're not a water guy.
Who
doesn't like ham?
Well, people who don't like ham water. I don't know.
Oh my goodness!
I'm not
a panini guy because it's just too like the bread gets too hard and it cuts the roof of your mouth. I don't want it.
Well,
just give me a sandwich. You don't need to crust it for me. It doesn't need to be hard. Just give me a sandwich. Give me a hot sandwich.
You just want a pillow with ham in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, even sourdough bread sandwich is too much. I don't like a panini. You have a panini. Keep it. I don't care.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, this sandwich was a panini, so it was crusty bread that was smashed down with butter and recrustified and filled with various meats. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it, and we had we fed a lot of people with this $100 sandwich, and it's a gimmick, but still a lot of pieces.
Yeah. And you can buy an individual serving of it too if you really want to get in on the panini love. You can buy an individual.
I feel like paninis are very 2008. Like paninis came and left. There was a thing. There was a fad for a bit. Panini machines were everywhere, and then you don't hear about them anymore.
That's fair. I mean, I think it is a Pim-mini, because everything has to be a pun.
Right. Of course it should be, honestly. It can't not be. Because Ant-Man is so full of those weird jokes, man.
And then also here they have like giant meatballs, which are very good. They have giant pretzels, which I feel like a really giant pretzel is really hard to hit the exact spot where it's soft but not mushy without being hard.
And when we talked about these foods, that was the big deal. It's like how do you make the foods big but also taste good? It's hard. And
I think they did it really well. And there are some things that are big. There are some things that are also small, it's a gimmick, but the chicken sandwich, the chicken is huge, like they enlarged it, but the bun is small, like they made it shrink, which is pretty fun. And I will say, as a pro tip, the kids' chicken sandwich is more than a substantial amount for an adult, so just get that.
Good breakfasts where you get a tiny quail egg.
Oh,
sunny side up.
Love it.
And you get some scrambled eggs for people who want more than a tiny egg.
That's fair.
It's awesome. My favorite breakfast in DCA.
Love it.
Because Flo's is gone.
That's fair.
Flo's is still there, but they're not doing breakfast because they moved it to Pym's. Yeah.
And then also with Pym's, there is Pym's Tasting Lab, where they have cocktails served out of beakers that you get to keep. They're plastic beakers, but They are PIM label beakers, so hey, you get a little souvenir with it. As well as some quote unquote craft beers. It's the usual suspects. It's not really craft.
Elysian Golden Road.
Yeah. But in the PIMS area, you do see like there's a really cool gimmick where you see pretzels going into a machine all the same size, and then they get shrunk or grow, and then they come out the other side, whatever size they got switched to, which is really fun to watch. You also in here for the soda machines, you have kind of giant sodas overhead that have little pipes running into the soda machines as if that's where you're getting your soda from. They do have Pingo Doce, which as a Marvel fan, I was very excited to see.
I don't know what that is.
So it's an in-universe soda. It's a guarana soda in the universe. It plays a decently large role in the Incredible Hulk movie, but it's in Avengers Campus. It's Sprite with vanilla in it.
That sounds awful. That sounds rank.
It was actually pretty good. I was hoping it was going to be more guarana like because I like guarana soda. But it wasn't. But it wasn't bad. I mean, it was fun, and it's like chartreuse green because that's what the drink is in the movies. So that's kind of part of the fun thing. And then over in the testing lab in the center of the bar, they have a giant beer can for Silver Age lager, and then the year that it was made is actually in the Silver Age of comics, which is kind of fun. And it says like it's a Chitauri, which Chitauris are the aliens that attack New York in Avengers. It says it's like a Chitauri inspired recipe or something along those lines. So kind of a fun little Easter egg again, and really great place design, right? It feels like you are in a place where these people who know how to grow and shrink things are growing and shrinking things, and they've done that really well without it being in the way of enjoying what you're there for.
Why couldn't they have grown the campus as a whole? Because it's really small.
And I think that is one of the places where it succeeds is how small it is. So, you know, as I'm describing here, you're going to catch like 2 rides. And I'll talk a little bit about the shows and the characters because I think that's something else that really shines here.
Yeah, for sure.
But what Avengers Campus really does well that I think Galaxy's Edge struggles with is it feels full. It's a lot easier to do that when it's a lot smaller. It feels full of life. It feels like the best way I can put it is think about like in Fantasyland on the really good days where the princesses are all walking around and Peter Pan's walking around and you just walk past a character. And that interaction of just like, hey, Peter, or hey, Alice, you know, as you're walking past that character, that's what Avengers Campus does really well. And everybody I've talked to that has been there has said, yeah, I was loaded with characters. I couldn't walk 2 steps without running into somebody, which is, I think, what Galaxy's Edge on the other side, where they fell short.
Right.
Well, yeah. And it's not only characters, it's characters that are so ridiculously current, like, hey, Loki, I saw in last week's episode of Loki.
Exactly. Yeah. They have, so to run through the characters that they have real quick, or they've had, and I'm going to try and group some of these, but they've had various versions of the Hulk, including Smart Hulk and Endgame Hulk, which I'm now realizing is weird given the story that they gave.
In the spacesuit, like the time traveling.
Yeah, the time traveling spacesuit Hulk. Both Hawkeyes have appeared. So Clint and Kate. They even brought in some stuff from Werewolf by Night with Elsa Bloodstone and Jack Russell. America Chavez has appeared. Captain Marvel, of course. Taskmaster is a frequent appearance. Nick Fury in some various costumes. Jane Foster as Thor, as well as Thor as Thor. All the Guardians. Agatha Harkness has appeared. Kamala Khan. Several of the Eternals have appeared. So Kingo, Phastos.
So it's not just characters that are geared. That they're not just Avengers. They're just people in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, and it like all the way down to Moon Knight, right? So like I loved the Moon Knight series. They had him appear in 2 different
Moon Knight iterations. I was thinking Moon Girl. I couldn't the animation, the Moon Girl. I can't
She
do
also appeared, but
Oh.
Moon Girl and Devil
All right.
Dinosaur also appeared.
Right.
But
I forget now.
I started watching some of it.
The cartoon.
I haven't finished it. Yeah.
I can't do it. It's too. It made me feel old because it's too jump cutty. There's too much going on. It's too fast, and the cuts are too fast. The edits are too fast, and it ended up sort of like hurting my eyes. Where it's like I can't like this is not what I mean, I was like ready for it, and I was like, I can't. I watched one episode, like I can't do it anymore. It's too much.
The same feeling when you play Fortnite.
Yeah, but I guess, yeah. God,
So,
it's
it's
just
really-
too much, man. Like I couldn't even. By the time my brain processed what was happening, so I could look around the screen, it was that whatever was gone. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right, man.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Something for a different generation.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, all of these characters appear and they know to pump it up too. So when Rogers the Musical came out about a month ago, the first day that was there in the park, they knew that it was going to be a loaded area, so they pumped more characters. They brought out some of the characters they hadn't had in a while. They brought out the Eternals, and they brought out both versions of Thor, which are not usually there. So they kind of know to infuse more characters when there's going to be more citizens, so to speak, in the land. And so I think that's something in defense of this, right? To go back to the theme here, in defense of this land, I think that's something that it does so well. And part of why I honestly think it's worth not even riding a ride there, right? You just go and you sit and you're like, hey, there's that guy I know. Hey, there's that person I know. And you just kind of can be in the land and enjoy it for just being there, right? You can.
So you're eating a shawarma on the strip, and you're seeing two different Captains America, and you're saying this is all fine.
Yeah, I mean, there does have to be some suspension of disbelief, right? There definitely are some of those gaps, and I think that's it. It knows that it's a superhero land, right? By another name, it's fantasy land, which is a genre land, right? It's a fantasy land. Marvel, like, it's Marvel land. It's not so dedicated to its story that it kind of cuts itself off like Galaxy's Edge does sometimes.
Yeah.
Instead, it's aware of what it is, and it's like people just want to see the thing. People just want to see Iron Man walking around. They just want to see these superheroes, which is really cool, and it does that really well. I think the other thing that it does so well, and Eric, you and I forget where we were talking about the Muppets appearance in Disney World, where it's just kind of a thing that happens.
Oh,
happened.
Their American history show in Liberty Square.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is another thing that Avengers Campus does really well, is they just have these shows that just happen. Some of them are on the schedule. So you have like Doctor Strange does a magic show in his kind of area over there. That's on the schedule and that happens. But like the Stuntronics thing, that yes, there's a million TikToks out there of it failing, but honestly it goes correct more than it goes wrong, where they have the big Stuntronic Tom, who is the Spider-Man that flies through the air, and Spider-Man also does like a show kind of around that. He climbs the wall and comes down and high fives the crowd and everything. And welcomes everybody to Avengers Campus. That just happens throughout the day, which really feels organic. And you do get some people lining up because there is a cadence to it. And so you do get some people lining up, but it just kind of is happening around you. There's also a battle that happens on the Avengers HQ that is different participants each time. It's very choreographed, obviously, but you know, one time I saw it was Black Widow versus Taskmaster, and Black Panther joined in, right? Black Panther crawled up the side of that building and joined in the fight. I've seen that they've done like Hawkeye at Christmas time. They'll even do a like holiday. They have a holiday script for it. So it's Hawkeye trying to deliver presents to the Avengers. And he's being thwarted by the tracksuit mafia or whatever. And so I think that's, again, really organic. And that's one of the things that, again, in defense of this this land, it doesn't feel contrived. It just feels like you're like we were sitting there having lunch and suddenly the fight on the campus was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just really cool and not something you get a lot of in modern Disney. Especially, you know, a lot of modern Disney right now is so planned and it's so like, we got to be here for this thing at this time, got to move over to here to this thing. Avengers Campus is kind of, I guess, a little remnant of the past that we all kind of long for, of like, it just is going to happen and you're going to be there.
I get it.
You're rewarded for sitting around and waiting for something interesting to happen.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. That's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun. It's a fun little thing.
So yeah, I think that's what it does so well is, and I have to remind myself of this, as especially on this last trip as a new father, like you're not paying $200 to ride rides all day necessarily. You're also paying to be in a place. And that's what Avengers Campus does very well is it creates a place to be in.
Yeah, but it's like a Bugs Land, you know what I mean?
Well, and that's the other really fun thing, and maybe this will be my closing thought, because I think this is really fun and kind of indicative of what Marvel or what Avengers Campus has done. So Ant-Man, when he's walking around the land, he carries around a miniaturized version of Bugs Land. And
yes, we've seen this photo of it. How was it in real life? Is it cool?
It's so cool. Like, I saw it in real life and I had to stop the Ant-Man. And I was like, dude, let me just like take this in. Let me just look at it. And it is really cool. And he'll interact too. He'll be like, yeah, this is what was here before us. We had to shrink it down, which again, obviously their ties to the story are loose because that would kind of clash with the story, right? If this was supposed to be a Stark campus that then they repurposed, where did Bugs Land come in? But it is really well done. It's really it is a miniature Bugs Land. And you can just kind of look at it. It's got all the little rides going. I think there was even some kinetics to it. I think maybe there was some movement in there. Which
oh wow.
Is but
Love it.
It's really fun. So again, does Avengers Campus have the best rides in the park? No, not right now. I think for the ride people, it's suffering because Web Slingers was never meant to be the anchor ride, and it has had to kind of step up and become that.
Yes.
It was always meant to be the second or third ride because DCA is cursed in this way. And it seems like every time they try and do something cool with DCA, the company loses money. And so they're stuck with kind of Web Slingers anchoring that land from a ride perspective, which is tough. But as a sense of place and as a place to be, it's really, really cool. And finding that value is really cool. So grab a drink and a beaker, watch Black Widow fight the Taskmaster, and just hang out. Ignore the overly loud music.
Okay, well, that's fair. All right, well, yeah, so I guess it's you're sort of saying to the haters, you got to reframe your mind. You got to brain fix up a little bit. It's not going to be the other things. Because if you want the other things, the other levels of immersion, you have that. It's a mix. Instead of saying, here's generic Marvel place to be, everyone sit here and wait for your favorite character to come out, which Disney isn't going to do. They have this, which has a loose story, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, and maybe isn't the most creative thing in the entire universe, but it's a thing that you can do, that you can exist in, that's not in any of the movies. I mean, Avengers Campus, I guess, is, but not in this way. Not in the comic books. It's its own thing, and you can be there, be a Marvel fan, and just sort of geek out on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's what it does really well, is it provides a place for people to geek out, and it's not so deep in the fandom that the casual person can't also enjoy it.
They see things they recognize, they want to engage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're going for?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. That sounds great. You know, it sounds even better, though, Ryan. Summer is right around the corner. Well, it's here, and our friends at the 21st Amendment are celebrating the return of the warmer days with their popular and everyone's favorite seasonal beer, Hell or High Watermelon Wheat. The brewers at the 21st Amendment brew an American wheat beer with real watermelon juice, creating a refreshing, fruity, and quenching beer, or what they affectionately call summer in a can. Hell or High Watermelon Wheat will make any weekend barbecue or beach time activity that much better. When visiting the California Bay, be sure and stop in at the 21st Amendment's San Francisco Brew Pub at 563 2nd Street, and also be sure and visit their brewery tap room just across the bay in San Leandro with an outdoor beer garden and lots of yummy, yummo food. I added that last part.
Oh,
It doesn't really say yummy yummo, because Sully would never use weird words like that, but I did. So here's some interesting things. So I pulled up, like I said, I was trying to find people just ragging on Avengers Campus, but, it's been open a couple of years, and I think the people who hated on it sort of like got filtered through the algorithm, and then now everyone loves it or whatever. But here's someone on Reddit. And I think they got ratioed a little bit on Reddit. But this is from 2 years ago. The post is, am I the only one disappointed by Avengers Campus? Well, no, because if you were online at any point from the announcement until the opening, you would know that, but that's okay. They say, mainly asking because I cannot find an honest review online without a bias towards Marvel. But here are my thoughts after visiting the land today. Number one, super small, which is one constant critique I've seen. What do you say to that, Ryan? Address it right now.
Absolutely.
All right, perfect.
It is small. I will also say, and this is theme park nerdiness, which I know is part of what people come to this podcast for. The largest building, which is what should be the largest building, which is the Avengers HQ that has the Quinjet on top.
Okay.
Does not get to benefit from force perspective, because it has to have a giant garage door on it so that they can bring the trolley cars in and out of it.
Bummer.
It also doesn't have a giant ride behind it, right?
Well, that's also true. This next one is Spider-Man Campus. I mean, I get that the ride is the talk of the town right now, But considering it's called Avengers Campus, you'd think the stores would have a lot to offer for fans of other Avengers. The merch was tacky, in my opinion, and seemed like Disney didn't know if they should target the kids or the adult fans. Not to mention, the Spider-Man show itself wasn't as fun as it was made to be, with a guy just rolling around until the animatronic is launched. Super awkward to watch as well. What do you say to that, Ryan?
So the one established store in the land is Spider-Man. They do have at Guardians of the Galaxy, they have the Ride Exit store, which is technically part of the land. They also have a lot of the merch, which I think would appear in, and I would guess as they were planning it, would have gone in the e-ticket exit store. That's over actually in a warehouse that's like over by Monsters Inc. right now. I would love to see that. It is great air conditioning, and whatever hero is out of season is also great deals in there. But I would like to see that merch brought into the land a little bit, and I think it will whenever the e-ticket, whatever it actually ends up being. It's not going to be the Quinjet. Maybe it'll be the King Thanos thing that they talked about at D23 a couple years ago. Whenever that actually comes to fruition, I do think that will be nice. And I do think that right now the merchandise is heavily focused towards Spider-Man. I was disappointed in there only being one shop. Now, the Spider-Man show is not, I don't think it's awkward. I thought it was really fun. I mean, I'm also a Spider-Man fan, so I'll own that. But
well, see, there you go. Number 3, no creativity. One of the things that irked me the most was how Pym Kitchen and Avengers headquarters took up most of the space. The headquarters building, as I learned later, is just a facade with no actual building. But it would have been nice to see an Avengers version of the Star Wars launch bay, which serves as a museum/shop/character photo op. Instead, it's just a building with a jet on top. Additionally, I found the illusion spot next to the ancient sanctum odd as hell. What does it have to do with the Avengers? Why is this the only thing of its kind in this land? And to add on to the merch thing, I'm honestly baffled that they are not selling replicas of anything that's connected to the Avengers. All they got is an infinity gauntlet that's stuck in one position for your soda bottle. What do you think of that? Huh? Stick that in your glove and snap.
The illusion spot that they're talking about, that's the obligatory Instagram spot at this point. It's these tiles. It's actually a really cool illusion. Tiles that are set up so that if you take a picture of it at a certain angle, it looks like the ground is warping away from you, and it's that's really cool. Neat.
Yeah, it's fun.
I like little photo ops like that. I mean, that's something to do. The next point, this person says, nothing to do. During the 4-hour wait for Web Slingers, my party and I were able to do everything in a little over 3 hours. Try the food, watch the 4 shows, and go on Guardians And then we spent an hour just sitting around waiting for our boarding group with the fear of leaving the land in case we were called. This is where the size of the land really comes into play of the whole unfortunate experience, because maybe there would be more stuff to do. You can leave the land, right? Like, just to let everybody know you can leave. Sure.
I kind of think maybe this was right at the beginning when
it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, maybe was when they were doing, because for a short while they were metering people in, so you couldn't. They had like that area closed off, and
I think this was after that, because that was right when they first opened. Some of the comments like, "Dude, you can just leave," and I think someone else clarified. They were like, I think OP was nervous about missing their boarding, but you can go up into an hour after your time is called, and you're fine. So the person just didn't really fully understand it, but So what I also did is went on to Yelp, because that's where you go to like find
to get reviews. There we go.
Yeah, and Avengers Campus has 3.9 stars out of 36 reviews. And let's see here. Where did they go? Why would it leave? I don't know. Arnell gave it 4 stars and said, with only a few rides and another 2 or 3 attractions, it's not worth having to wait an hour for anything on this side of the park. What do you think of that? Is any ride there worth an hour?
I mean, Guardians is worth an hour.
Guardians would be.
It's Tower of Terror.
I know, right? I would never wait 25 minutes for Tower of Terror.
Well,
I would guess you're in the minority on that.
Yes. Oh, have you met me? Here's one from Jay. He gave it 3 stars. He said, yada, yada, yada. For me, it's a big disappointment. They have some shows going on all the time and a lot of photo ops. Spider-Man show is damn good. Others are below average. And this place is filled with awful actors. Most of them talked like they are damn serious, and it almost cracked me up. So he thinks it's funny that the actors were acting like the characters. All right, that's cool,
characters.
Man.
They're in character.
He thinks he's Iron Man.
Yeah, hey, look, get a load of this kid. Photo ops don't have any schedule. They show up wherever they feel like it, and you should be lucky to be there to get a chance. Average experience, to be honest.
Yep. I wonder if this guy has a bunch of reviews of Disney World, because it sounds like he wants the Disney World character experience where it's like, you go to this place at this time and wait in this line. Maybe you get a fast pass and you see this character.
I don't know, but like he left these like recent reviews from like an Apple store in Portland, a Best Buy. Like, who reviews Best Buy and gave it 5 stars? No. It seems really weird. It was like, why? Like, who? I don't know, man. I don't really review places anymore, ever really. But like Starbucks, you're reviewing Starbucks. Either you go
7 hours later, that venti latte was fantastic.
Taco Bell, like this man is just like reviewing the most basic places to go that everybody already knows. Either you love it or you don't. You're not going to be swayed either way by going on Yelp to figure out if you should go to the Taco Bell in Everett, Washington. You're just not going to.
Is this somebody where if we put them on, if we started watching them on Walkabout, we'd like slowly fall in love with them?
No.
Probably.
I don't think so. I wish I could search. What he's like reviewed, because
No, but I think, Web Slingers I would not wait an hour for. I was really glad when they brought it to the normal tier of Genie Plus. It was up until earlier, I think this summer, or up until earlier this year, it was on the like pay per ride Genie Plus, which catch me not doing that even at Web Slingers, even though I'm the guy who bought the Iron Man gauntlet so I could shoot Iron Man blasts on that ride. Catch me not doing that.
This one guy says, I felt underwhelmed, and it definitely felt like an afterthought just to fill up space. Homie, there was something there before.
Right.
They had something there. It wasn't to fill up space. They removed a thing to put this here. This was planned.
Chapek was standing in a field going, what do I do with this?
Yeah. This mess. Boots. Look at what Iger left me. Okay. Very good.
I will say,
yes,
the one other complaint that I have about it as a mega nerd is it is starting to suffer the same fate as Star Wars does in Disneyland, where it's in 2 lands. Marvel is in 2 lands. Although no one other than hyper nerds would understand this. Sanford Sokyo is from Big Hero 6, which is a Marvel property. So you now have two Marvel lands in Avengers Campus and the San Francisco Wharf in separate spaces in DCA, which is not the best in my opinion.
No,
Works
that's
for
not the
me.
best.
It's only you.
Yeah. Speaking of San Francisco, we watched Abominable the other day for the first time. You guys remember that movie? It's not a Disney movie. It's
Is it still
it's
not
the
Disney?
Spielberg one. It's the
DreamWorks?
DreamWorks. Yeah. And it takes place, I think, in Tokyo. Awesome. It's awesome. It's cool as hell. Definitely watch it. Give it a shot. Great movie.
Have not seen.
Funny.
I haven't either.
Cute. Alice loved it. It was awesome. There you go. That's my opinion for you. Okay, we're taking a quick break. Coming back, I got a little tiny bit of Disney news here. We're gonna get out of here. So hang on, everyone. It's Ears Up. We'll be right back.
And now, back to the show that's more fun than waiting in line for Peter Pan on a hot August Anaheim day. Ears Up.
Hey, what a timely comeback, man. Or, bed or whatever it's called anymore. I don't know anymore, folks. Yeah, Taryn's going to join us real fast. She just got in and, she's cleaning up a mess I made at the break. Like, actually, you wouldn't mind cleaning this up for me, please? I got to go because Eric just said he was tired. I want to make sure he gets to bed. So I blamed you, Eric. You got me out of doing work.
Oh, no, thank you. Yeah. Always assume that I'm tired and I'm ready for bed.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Same.
March in the
Absolutely.
past, present, and future with all the news that's fit to cover. It's the Ears Up Disney News.
All right, just a little bit of Disney news here, everybody. Not a terrible amount. Unless we want to
We're
go
not
that
going
way.
in depth or anything.
No.
Okay.
This is from the Walt Disney Company website. Disney CEO Bob Iger addresses future plans on Q3 earnings call. The Walt Disney Company reported its third quarter earnings on Wednesday, posting revenues of $22.3 billion, which was a 4% growth from the previous year. Chief Executive Officer Bob Iger told analysts on the post-earnings call that, quote, in the 8 months since I've returned, we've undertaken an unprecedented transformation at Disney, and this quarter's earnings reflected some of what we have accomplished. Okay, I mean, how do you know that some of that wasn't what Chapek accomplished? You don't know that. A few achievements since Iger's return that he highlighted in his comment include: the company was completely restructured, restoring creativity to the center of the business.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds nebulous and hard to track, but that's okay.
Show it on a spreadsheet. We're good.
Hi, Turn.
Hi.
Important management changes and efficiency improvements to create a more cost-effective, coordinated, and streamlined approach to operations. So, reading between the lines, I fired a bunch of people and made other people pick up the slack. So now everyone has to work harder.
But it's more efficient.
No, I get that.
Efficiency improvements. I don't know.
Right.
Aggressive cost reductions across the enterprise, with the company on track to exceed its initial goal of $5.5 billion in savings. Well, that's really nice for all the people you fired to achieve that. See, basically, you're saying I didn't have to fire as many people?
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to spend that much money.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Spoken like a manager. I forget Eric's in management. The company has improved its direct-to-consumer operating income by roughly $1 billion in just 3 quarters, as Disney continues to work towards achieving direct-to-consumer profitability by the end of fiscal year 2024 in a challenging environment. What's challenging? What's the challenging environment? Everyone's at home watching TV still?
Not anymore. I mean, hey, Zoom brought their people back 3 days a week.
Yeah, I know. I know. And I talked to Terrence like, I'm going to find a new source of the video conference calling, and I'm going to write a letter. I'm going to say, this is why I'm canceling my service, because you grew your business and your profitability tenfold on the thing.
But no one would be there to open that letter if they weren't in the office 3 days a week.
There's something called email. Okay, it's fine. Bob says, quote, I'm pleased with how much we've gotten done in such a short period of time, but I also know we have a lot more to do. What do you mean? You wanted to save $5.5 billion. You did more than that. Your income has grown by $1 billion in less than a year. What else do you have to do? What more? What are you talking about? As I've said before, our progress will not always be linear. But despite near-term headwinds, I'm incredibly confident in Disney's long-term trajectory because of the work we've done, the team we have in place, and because of Disney's core intellectual property foundation. He asserted that, quote, moving forward, I believe 3 businesses will drive the greatest growth and value creation over the next 5 years. They are our film studios, our parks business, and streaming.
He is a genius.
All of which are inextricably linked to our brands and franchises.
Are they?
Well,
Aw.
here I was hoping for home goods.
Right.
Yeah, the R2D2 Panini press was going to be right up the, rocket of all the profits, man. Everyone's stocks were just going to go to the moon because of that R2D2 Panini press.
So
I mean, if you need me to be the capitalist villain over here, I'm
Sure,
willing,
man.
because all of this makes sense to me.
Yeah, right. Well, you are the true visionary, you and Bob Iger, because nobody else would have ever known that the 3 businesses that are going to drive the greatest growth are the films, the parks, and streaming, which is what Chapek was trying to do in the first place.
and also the things that have been working
Right.
in the past forever.
Well, obviously, and also the parks, which is number one, what got Disney out of debt in the first friggin' place.
Yeah.
Like without the parks, I don't think the Disney company would be around, to be honest with you. And it's always the one that is growing, that makes the most money, that grows the most money. I mean, makes the most money, but the growth is always there. When they talk about at these earnings calls, the amount of money Disney makes, it's because of the parks.
Did
Yeah.
you know that DVC is part of the parks revenue stream?
Oh, I did not know that.
I
Oh.
learned that just recently. So,
So
yeah.
would we
Interesting.
see that big bump after they open the new Disneyland DVC?
Mhm. Yeah,
Man,
people buying in.
It's a trip to hear, when you talk about DVC, because we have a community college out here called Diablo Valley College, and it's DVC.
Yeah.
So every time you go to DVC, I literally have to take a second and go, not the college. Okay, got
Yeah.
it.
The other one. Okay.
In addition to discussing the company's financial results for the third quarter, Iger offered insight into the company's upcoming opportunities as they relate to Disney Parks business, streaming, ESPN, and more. I love opportunities. My favorite thing.
Well, everybody needs them.
In terms of Disney's direct-to-consumer business, Iger affirmed that since his return, quote, we've reset the whole business around economics designed to deliver significant, sustained profitability. Oh, what a genius. In just 8 months, he's reset the whole business to deliver significant, sustained profitability. Why wasn't that set up before you left? In that 8 months since you left, did you friggin' read a book that you suddenly revolutionized the world of sustained profitability for a large company like this? And that's why you had to get back into the chair? No, what are you talking about, dude?
Those are
It
all
also-
just keywords.
It also feels like it contradicts what he said earlier, because in the beginning of the quotes, he was talking about how he put creativity at the center, and now it's profitability at the center.
Yes.
Which I understand they can both be true, but like
They can't.
Chapek put profitability at the center and not creativity.
Well, because he
Right.
had to, because that was the whole goal. The goal of the company was to make streaming profitable by 2025. So he had to do it. There was no way around it. That was the goal. That was part of his job. But I bristle at the assertion that that profitability and creativity can coexist. They can't. Either you're creative or you're profitable. You can't. I don't think you can be both. I think it's rare if you're both.
Where,
I agree. It's rare. Yes.
Where did who is he speaking to? Where did these quotes come from?
They're I think they're general comments after the Q3 earnings call
yeah.
yesterday. Yeah.
Because it's interesting because just going off of what Ryan just said, like it does seem like the first quote he's talking to a different audience, and the second quote he's talking to shareholders. Because you talk to shareholders about money, you talk to your
Please,
fans
yeah.
about creativity.
Well, if you don't change your voice and your audience a few times per statement, then how will all of the clickbaity sites decide which quotes they want to select out of context?
That is a great point.
He goes on. He says, "We're prioritizing the strength of our brands and franchise." I can't deal with corporate speak. I can't do it. We're prioritizing the strength of our brands and franchises. What can that possibly mean? What's
That coupled with his other quote about diluting the brands by putting too much on streaming means that he wants, and this is me doing some translating. To me, what that reads as is I want to do less projects, but good projects.
I mean, I guess we're rationalizing the volume of content we make, what we spend, and what markets we invest in. We are deploying the technology necessary to both improve the user experience as well as the economics of this business. We're harnessing windowing opportunities, perfecting our pricing and marketing strategies, maximizing our enormous advertising potential, and we're making extensive Hulu content available to bundle subscribers via Disney+.
I like how it was like all these nebulous concepts,
All these ings.
and then Hulu.
Yeah. And then we're
Or
bundling Hulu and the Disney+. So basically, it's all the stuff that we're already doing, but with bigger words, like windowing.
I also don't know what windowing, like,
Yeah, what does that I
other than making more content for Eric to talk about on future Main Street window segments.
Right.
I like didn't
Let me
hear
tell you
the
about
rest
Wade
of the quote.
Rubrodom.
Okay, so I just looked it up. How to harness small windows of opportunity.
Oh,
A series of circumstances. Every day presents
Make
many
your own luck
unscheduled
kinda stuff.
chances, I guess.
what was the exact quote?
The quote was, we're harnessing windowing opportunities.
Windowing. Okay, I think that's a stupid thing to say.
5 strategies every leader must embrace to
Yeah.
harness disruption.
That sounds like a fad leadership thing. Like,
Yeah.
I've never heard that. I've ever.
You finish the statement and you expect him to say, CEO, away! And then fly off the stage.
Well, because they've made window a verb.
Windowing.
this sounds
yeah.
like
We're
this
windowing.
sounds like he's trying to set up his consulting business for after he leaves Disney again.
Right.
He's
Yeah, I
trying
mean,
to set up his like speaking arrangements.
I guess what he's saying is we're harnessing windowing opportunities, which is sort of like we're taking the good and we're taking the bad and we're putting them together to get the
Now
facts
you
of
have
life.
the facts of
Yeah.
life.
Like it's just, basically one of those where it's like any opportunity we have that we can maximize with that has a small window to execute, we're going to do it. I've never heard of harnessing that. I've never heard, whatever. He said that he announced last quarter that we're moving closer to a more unified one app experience domestically to pair high quality general entertainment with content from our popular brands and franchises for our bundle subscribers. It's a formula for success that we've already proven in international markets with our Star offering on Disney+. I guess you can thank Chapek for that. I don't know. What do you think? He goes on, we see a future where consumers can access even more of the company's streaming content all in one place, resulting in higher user engagement, lower churn, and greater opportunities for advertisers.
Great.
I mean,
Yeah.
they do need to figure out if they're going to have all these apps. Yes, it needs to be one app. Streaming needs to be one app. Parks need to be another app. Just bundle it all down, call it a day.
Iger also announced that at the end of the third quarter, the company had signed up 3.3 million subscribers to the ad-supported Disney Plus option. That since its inception, 40% of new Disney Plus subscribers are choosing an ad-supported product. That shocks me because streaming ads are just about the worst thing you can consume. They're awful. I mean, they're worse than spam and potato chips to eat every day. Like they're terrible.
Well, yeah, it's every day. There are only 3 of them.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
when you watch a half-hour
Yes.
show, you will see the same Chevy ad 4 times.
Right. Yeah, in a row sometimes.
Right.
The ad-supported Disney Plus offering will become available in Canada and select markets November 1st. Anyway, and there's opportunities for ESPN. He says taking our ESPN flagship channels direct to consumer is not a matter of if, but when. I don't even know what that means because I thought that it was already like that. But he says, and the team is hard at work looking at all components of this decision, including pricing and timing.
Yeah, so what he's saying is because right now with ESPN Plus, you don't get ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN Classic. You have to have a TV subscription for that. I use my parents to get that stuff, but
aren't parents the best?
They truly are.
Because they still have cable. It's fantastic.
Exactly.
That's fair.
So you just get the and if you're a fan of like the weird stuff, which when I say weird stuff, I mean like hockey and soccer, which is largely what I'm a fan of.
Starts tomorrow. Let's go. Let's go. Premier League it up.
That's what you get on ESPN Plus, but you don't get like Sunday Night Baseball or Sports Center or those sort of things.
You mean the boring stuff that'll put you to sleep when you're out of Ambien?
Yeah, I think that stuff is what they do need to bring. Like, it was weird to me that wasn't on ESPN Plus.
Have you heard of Slam Ball?
Oh yeah,
you have
the basketball on trampolines.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
It's fantastic.
Cool. It's awkward and cumbersome, but it's sort of worth watching. It's like a train wreck that doesn't kill anybody.
is it the
Yeah.
opposite of pickleball?
I don't even know what pickleball is, but basically it's a basketball court and you have like 4 trampolines set and you can like travel, I think, a little bit or something, and you can get I don't know, man, look it up. It's
it looks like the goal is to dunk always, basically.
it was from like early 2000s, late 90s. It died off for a while, and then I think they've brought it back, especially with them doing like ESPN 8, the Ocho now, every August. That they always show it on that, along with cornhole tournaments and
the Savannah Bananas. And
I'm just waiting for them to just make basketball an actual sport.
I know.
That's all I'm waiting for. Let's see. Iger pointed out that our cruise line in particular showed strong revenue and operating income growth in the third quarter. Current Q4 booked occupancy for our existing fleet of 5 ships is at 98%.
Dude, I saw
wild.
that, and it doesn't. So it surprised me on one hand, but on the other hand, everybody that I know is going on a Disney cruise. Like everybody, all the like various influencers are doing content about Disney cruise that like are usually parks people. They're doing cruise content. Like,
I wonder if the parks are reaching out. That's has been sort of a big marketing thing, is to like get influencers in, but I think it's increasing now that a lot of online advertisers don't really know where to go to hook people, because more and more influencers are influencing what people buy, especially with like TikTok Marketplace and all these marketplaces where they can actually like make money doing this, instead of just doing straight brand deals. I think that's you're going to continue to see a lot more of that, whether or not they're transparent in that Disney gave them this trip or that they decided to book it for content.
Yeah. I've also seen a lot of things that talk about, whether it's the influencers talking about it, or I think maybe even some official Disney stuff talking about how like, oh, the parks are so busy, it's so difficult. Here's this hidden gem, the cruise line.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a Disney experience, but it's not as popular right now, or it's not as busy.
Yeah, you get more kids to listen to in a centralized area.
Yeah.
Let's see a little bit more. He says that Walt Disney World is still performing well above pre-COVID levels, 21% higher in revenue and 29% higher in operating income compared to fiscal year 19, adjusting for Star Cruiser accelerated depreciation. Okay, man. But how much of that is attendance? Notice he doesn't mention attendance. It's just price increases.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I mean, and that's all it's been for a couple of years. Not all it's been, but a couple of years they've mentioned our revenue at the park is X% higher due to price increses.
It'll be interesting to see what next quarter holds because of all the discounts they're doing right now. Because that'll negate the pricing to some degree. Well, at least with the hotels, it's negating the price increase.
And like to that point, Jason was just talking about the attendance, and you don't discount your prices unless you need to up attendance.
Right.
So that will be interesting to see.
But yeah, I mean, you discount those prices enough and people say, oh, maybe we go this time of year. We don't know who goes in the summer anymore. Let's take our kids out of school rather than go to Florida in August.
Ever. Yeah.
Kids do not need the perfect attendance award. Take them to Disneyland.
Yeah, that was always a big thing growing up. I don't know if it was with when you guys were growing up too, but it was like, this is going to be on your permanent record. Your attendance will be on your permanent record. And you're like 10 going, is that a thing that matters to me? And it turns out it doesn't. I've never had one employer go, can I have your attendance, your permanent record, please, from middle school?
Has anybody here ever seen their permanent record?
I don't think it really exists.
Yeah, all these things go on. Like
when I applied at Harvard, I showed them all of the medals, all of the little pins that I got for perfect attendance, and
And they said I had to bring my own mop.
School.
Yeah.
And now, as a supervisor in a call center, I have to tell people, no, don't come in if you're sick. Like, just don't
Please,
work.
Please don't breathe near the rest of the
Don't try and
people.
have perfect attendance.
Yeah.
I don't care.
My grandma was big on that. I told the story a few times where she bragged. I never took a sick day. Never missed a day at work. I'm like, Dad, that's cool. The greatest generation. That's good for, for you. But, I guess forget everybody else around you, right? Get everybody else sick. That's fine.
Yeah. I had an employee who texted me and was like, my brother died this weekend, but I feel really bad for the team. I have to come in. I know I
Oh
was
my
like, no,
God.
don't.
Touch grass, dude. Go outside.
Go take care
Wow.
of yourself, please.
Jeez.
Disney to raise price on ad-free Disney Plus to $13.99 per month starting October 12th.
Yikes.
Commercial-free Disney Plus will cost $13.99 per month, which is a 27% increase. Disney Plus with ads will remain $7.99 per month because Disney probably makes a ton of money selling those ads,
I wonder
what's more profitable for them, the ad-based revenue or the normal one.
I also wonder what their conversion rate is.
Has to be zero.
Because people upgrading.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought you meant for the advertisers.
That's what I mean. It's people. No, I mean people upgrading from the ad supported tier to the ad free tier because they get tired of the ads. And so if you keep that ad supported tier real cheap, you make that extra money on the ads for the schmucks who stay on the ad supported tier. You also get the parents whose kids get really annoyed while they're watching Bluey and go, Mom, I don't want to watch ads anymore. And suddenly now they're paying $7 more a month.
Well, and then you go online, you learn about torrents.
Yeah.
No, don't do that. But I mean, is it worth double the amount? Is it worth double the price? Double the price to not have to worry about ads.
That's not the math they're hoping you do.
I
They're
know.
hoping you go, is it worth $7 more a month?
Right. Disney is increasing the price of Hulu without ads to $18 a month, which is a 20% price hike. Hulu with ads will also stay the same at $7.99. For comparison, Netflix standard plan without commercials is $15 a month. Warner Brothers Discovery's Max is $15.99 per month. I thought that was HBO.
Yeah, that is HBO.
It's now Max.
Yeah, they changed the name to just Max.
Yeah,
Well,
but
with the
it's HBO. Why are
Discovery.
they calling it Discovery?
but this is now Discovery's Max. Whatever, I don't know.
They're together. So they merged.
Mm.
Discovery.
Oh,
All
okay.
of Discovery's content is also on that service.
All right. The decision to price Disney Plus nearly as high as commercial-free Netflix and Max and charge even more for Hulu signals Disney believes its content library can compete with both of those services. Psych. When
so
Disney,
here's the other thing real quick that this article is being a little bit disingenuous in comparing. The Netflix one that they're using is full HD, so it's 1080p. It's not their full 4K. I only know this because I have the 4K version, which costs me $20 a month, which Disney Plus has 4K content, and so does Hulu. And so it is more apt to compare the $20 a month.
well, but it's hard
premium.
because you can't, because not everything on Disney Plus is 4K.
Right, and not everything on Netflix is either.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
So to get access to the 4K, you have to pay that $20 a month. So you're looking, it's all about $20,
Sure.
no matter what service you're looking at.
So limit it.
Yeah. Iger says,
That's
we
kind
took
of
a
it.
pretty significant price increase at Disney Plus sometime late in 2022, and we really didn't see a significant churn or loss of subs because of that, which was actually heartening. Didn't Chapek get roasted when that happened? Yes, is the answer. Iger noted that Disney is deliberately trying to steer users toward its ad-supported services by keeping prices for those services the same. The advertising landscape for streaming is healthier than traditional linear TV. Yeah, that's what we just said. We're smart.
Yeah. So that answers your question.
Yeah.
They get more money from advertisers, but they need to get more advertisers. So they need more of those users.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild times, dude. Wild times. All right. Last one. We're going to end up with, I wouldn't say it's a positive note, but it's up there. Not really. Disneyland security dog bite. Elderly man sues Disney parks and resorts after allegedly being bitten during a visit to Anaheim. An elderly Nevada resident is suing Disneyland after he was bitten in the stomach by a security dog while entering the park at Anaheim in May 2022. Paul Perez, 81, was visiting the Southern California attraction with his wife, daughter, and grandkids when the dog jumped up on him at the front gates. The lawsuit, which doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, not that it doesn't happen, because a dog is a dog, but these are trained dogs on a leash. There's no way no way, but it would be very impossible.
That's why he's
Nearly
going for
impossible.
negligence. Obviously, he wasn't trained well enough, and
Yeah, or
whatever.
the handler wasn't, didn't have a secure hold on his leash. I mean, that's crazy.
Does the
or
article
this
mention
elderly
the
man
joint
didn't
in
have a
his
good
pocket?
handle.
Yeah. The lawsuit filed in Orange County alleges a Disneyland dog handler caused the dog to bump into Perez, which in turn made the dog retaliate against him. Okay, so they were like very close, I guess. He's just this older guy on the way to Disneyland with his family to enjoy the day. Perez's attorney told the Orange County Register. Perez and his attorney are seeking a civil trial and restitution for his wound, pain and suffering, emotional distress, and other medical costs. Oh, there's a picture of the wound. It's blurred out, but it looks. You ever seen a piece of steak that's like rare on the inside and then dark on the outside? It's
Ooh.
that basically. It looks nasty, man.
Yikes.
Yeah. According to the lawsuit filed in an Orange County court, the Las Vegas resident, the brutal attack took place on May 10th, 2022. During the incident, a Disneyland dog handler caused the dog to abruptly step directly in front and very close to Perez, who bumped into the animal. After Perez and the animal bumped into each other, the dog then attacked the plaintiff, biting him in the stomach. He needs to be taken to the hospital. Perez's wife and what would you... I mean, I guess I'm giving it away. Perez's wife and his two grandchildren continued into the park after the incident. Oh, Grandpa
Bye,
just got
Grandpa.
bit in the gut by a dog. I don't know, man. We're going to Disneyland. Who cares? After being treated with antibiotics, he was released. Yeah. Anyway, that's about it, basically. It goes on to talk about his trauma and stuff like that.
Yeah, and all
no
that's a
fun.
bummer because clearly something happened. But
They're saying they haven't offered him anything.
Really?
One of the frustrating things, his lawyer said, is that we indicated to Disneyland that we have an interest in resolving the case, and they didn't extend an offer.
Is that Disney security or is that
It's-
Anaheim police?
It's the Anaheim police, I think, but I think they're hired by the park. I don't really know.
because I'm just thinking maybe that's why Disney's kind of not our circus, not our monkeys.
Well, but I think that they hire them. I don't think the
If
cops
they hire them, that's different.
I don't think the
Yeah.
cops are there like on their own, like as part of their beat. I think that they pick up other shifts or something. I don't know.
Yeah, off-duty police.
yeah,
Anyway, that's it. I think we're done. Ryan,
Cool.
thanks for defending Avengers Campus. I'm sure
For sure.
it was a wildly attacked before you stepped in and took a bullet.
I had to. Somebody has to.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's not going to be me. I'll tell you that. I've never been. I don't know anything about
I've
it.
been. Have
Yeah.
a tiny
Soon
quail egg.
trademark.
Yeah, that's true. All right, everyone, we're getting out of here. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I appreciate it. And until next time, see you in the parks.